I'm ranking every AI coding tool that I've tried, so you don't have to waste hours trying every single one. This will be based on my experience coding for over 12 hours a day and constantly swapping tools every 2 days. So the first tool on the list is Google's anti-gravity, which is a relatively new one. At the moment, I'll have to put it in wouldn't recommend. The main reason is because you can't really use GPT models in them. You can only use Gemini and Opus, and I would say Gemini isn't really useful at coding at the moment. So there isn't really any use for anti-gravity at the moment, but I can see the potential if Gemini models get better. So next we've got Codeex. So for Codeex, I'll probably put this in the best tier, and I'll show you why. So for Codeex, I was a bit behind Claude Code for a while, but recently they've been starting to add features that are making it catch up to Claude Code. So you can see here we've got plan mode, which is one of the big reasons why people were hesitant to swap over from Claude Code. This one's still in beta, so plan mode isn't generally released yet, but you can see we've got Claude Code's question picker here. You can even click tab to add notes, which is like really useful, I thought, and control enter cycle questions, enter to submit. And Codeex has recently added app connectors, so you can connect Codeex to stuff like Linear, Slack, Figma, and so many more apps. So I think Codeex has pretty much caught up to Claude Code, and it runs way faster. You can see here if I open a new one, pretty much starts instantly, whereas Claude Code takes like 5 seconds. So for Codeex, I think the main downside is that the chat doesn't resize when you resize your terminal. So for example, I full screened this one and you can see it didn't resize, it's still taking half the width. And this is really annoying when you're running multiple in parallel and you want to quickly maximize one to read it. It basically makes that part unusable. And the other downside is you can't use Opus. This is a big downside because Codeex really isn't that good at front end, whereas Opus with the front end design skill is like way better at front end. So you still need both models at the moment. So the next one on the list is Claude Code, and this is probably one of the most popular ones at the moment, especially on Twitter. I think for this one, I'm going to put in the good tier. This used to be the one that I mainly used until I saw Peter post his blog post about shipping at inference speed. This was about Codeex and how he uses it, and after that I decided if a guy that's shipping an insane amount of tools is using Codeex, then I should probably give it a try. Ever since then, I've pretty much been using Codeex all the time, and I've pretty much dropped Claude Code. So the reason why this isn't in the best tier is because of a few reasons. The first reason is because it takes around 5 seconds to start up, whereas Codeex is instant. The second reason is because it keeps crashing my Ghosty because it uses so much like computer resources. It seems like the Bun team is fixing this, but yeah, at the moment it's pretty bad on the computer resource usage. And the last reason is because you're pretty much locked into one, using Opus, and 2, using Claude Code, because they've banned using the subscription in other harnesses. So these are too big of downsides to have it in the best tier, and it's also why I've dropped Claude Code basically. So the next one is Conductor. I think Conductor is like an amazingly built tool, so I think everyone should try Conductor if they use either Codeex or Claude Code. And I'll have to put this in the best tier after Codeex. So you can see in Conductor you can have all your repos loaded into Conductor in one window, which makes it really easy to work on multiple projects at the same time. You can see if I want to start a new task, it just creates a new Git worktree, or I can like start one in another repo. The UX that they've made around this is like insanely good, because I don't even know how to use Git worktrees, but they've like pretty much abstracted that away, and it's just a really easy UI to use. You'll find that when you use Conductor that everything just seems intuitive. So you can see here that you can view files, so agents, and they've got nice formatting. And also I'll show you my example here. So I added the README here, and you can see they've got like a nice Git diff viewer. You can do side-by-side view, you can do unified view, you can quickly add comments and add comment and then send it all to the chat that you can see here. So they've just got a really nice UI. Everything makes sense. Even after you create the PR here in the top right, they pull in AI comments, so you can see your bug bot or whatever tool you're using. You can see those comments live in Conductor and then send that to the chat to be fixed as well. So everything just makes a lot of sense with Conductor, and they even have a GitHub status checks here, so you can see the CI checks before you merge it in from this UI as well. So you pretty much barely need to open GitHub when you use this tool. It's just really good. I guess one downside is that you can't really push stuff to main. You always have to go through PRs. I'd say that's pretty much the main downside. The only reason I don't use this tool is because I prefer using another one called Pi, which I'll talk about later. And also because you can't really open a terminal quite as easily as you can when you're using Ghosty, where you just like click Command T or Command D and you have a new terminal window readily available. So the next one on the list is Cursor. This is actually my favorite tool overall for coding with AI, despite how expensive it is, just because it has the best features. Usually I would put this in the best tier, but currently for me it's too buggy to put there, so I'll have to put it first in the good tier. So there's two main bugs that's pretty much preventing me from using this at the moment. One is that as soon as your Wi-Fi has like a small connection error, the model just like stops and says connection error or connection stalled, and let it run for 20 minutes, and you come back and you see that it says connection error. So this pretty much makes it unusable for me. The second big bug is that image generation almost always doesn't work for me. So I'll tell it to generate like 5 images for something I'm making, like a mobile app or a browser game. It'll get through like 3 of them, and then it'll just fail and say connection stalled, and I just lose all my images. Or sometimes like the image generation just doesn't work at all, and this feels too common for the tool to be usable. Despite this, I think it's the best tool once these bugs are fixed. It has stuff like debug mode, which is insane. It has an inbuilt browser where they're currently working on connecting the debug mode with the browser so the agent can automatically debug by itself without any user intervention. So I think Cursor is overall the best tool, and I'm pretty sure they're cooking up some crazy orchestration tool right now. So excited for that as well. So now we've got Open Code. So Open Code is definitely going in the best tier. In terms of the ranking within the best tier, it's definitely the best out of all of these. So there's a few main reasons why Open Code is so good. The first reason is because you can use almost any model in it basically. So you can use Kimi 2.5, you can use Codeex, you can use your Codeex subscription, Copilot subscription, you can use Opus. And they've also got this new Open Code Black plan, which gives you like pretty generous limits for what you pay. And this lets you use a lot of models as well with it. When I tested using it within the first week of its release, I was actually getting pretty good usage out of it. I think I was getting $300 or more per week of usage out of it, which is like pretty crazy considering it was only 200 USD. So the second reason why Open Code is so good is because it's so easy to build on top of. So they spent a lot of time making the primitives and the infrastructure really easy to build on top of. So recently Ramp built an entire background agent system on top of Open Code that they integrated with their Slack, and they're pretty much using this over all the other background agents right now. So that shows just how easy it is to extend on top of Open Code. And on top of that, it's open source. So if you want to fork it and build your own version, for example, like my Open Code, you can easily do that. Overall, it's a really good tool, and the only reason why I don't use it is because back when Codex was added to it, I kept getting connection errors, so I swapped off. But I'm sure if I tried it again, it would probably be one of my favorites. Second last, I'm just going to go with Windsurf because that's more of a quick one. So for Windsurf, I'll put this in wouldn't recommend. Windsurf, it's not a bad tool overall. Like if you try it by itself, like I recently tried it and I felt like they had some unique features that other people didn't really have. So they had code maps and deep wiki. These basically both help you understand your code base and give you an in-depth understanding of the code base, which is especially useful if you're working in a team where you don't know what's going on in the code base yet. There's a few main reasons why I put this in the wouldn't recommend tier. So the first reason is because I feel like they're shipping a lot of the features really late. Like for example, they recently shipped plan mode and arena mode. These were already in Cursor at least like half a year ago. So yeah, the features just come way too late, and they don't really have any agent orchestration tooling at all, like no way to run multiple in parallel. I wouldn't recommend it at the moment unless they start like shipping like a lot faster. So last but not least, we've got Pi. So this coding tool is built by one guy called Mario, and it's gaining a lot of popularity recently. And the main reason is because I'm sure you've heard of OpenClaw or Claude. This is actually built on top of Pi. So Pi is the underlying agent that powers OpenClaw. There's a few reasons why it's so good. For me, it's the best AI coding tool at the moment. So there's a few reasons why I think Pi is the best tool currently. So the first reason why I think Pi is the best tool currently is because you get to use any model that you want with it. You just have to bring your own API key or choose your subscription to connect with it. For example, I just use my Codex subscription with Pi. And the next reason is because it's really minimal. So Pi doesn't come with a lot of bloat like some other tools. It just comes with four basic tools to use, and also a really minimal system prompt. It has one of the smallest system prompts out of every tool currently. When I use Claude Code, I type in /context in a fresh window, and it says 25% of the context is already used, and I barely have any skills or anything. I think a lot of that is due to the long system prompt. So you can see that how Pi benefits from nice context management, because the system prompt is so small and it doesn't come with a bucket load of tools by default. So the last reason is actually because of how extendable it is. By default, Pi doesn't come with any MCPs built in, no to-do list, no plan mode. And you might be thinking, oh, that must mean it sucks, but it's actually really easy to extend on Pi, and there's actually a large extension ecosystem already built around it. There's a lot of like cracked devs currently building on top of Pi. Some people have even ran Doom within it. Some people are building like Pac-Man that runs in Pi somehow. I don't know how. And I'll show you one example that I've built. So an example thing that I built with Pi is this extension called Study Commits. It basically brings up this UI where I can do a multi-select and pick some of the past 20 commits so that the agent can study these commits and bring it into its context. And you might be thinking this probably took me a long time to make. No, but the thing is, this only took me one prompt actually. So with Pi, it's actually extremely knowledgeable about its own architecture and how to extend on itself. So I pretty much just said like what I want. I just asked for a UI, like a checkbox modal where I can pick some of the recent commits, and it just went off and built it. So it's actually an insanely easy tool to build on top of. I have no clue how the code base works at all, and I was able to build that crazy UI for selecting recent commits. And there's other crazy stuff that people have built, like I mentioned before. I was able to get pretty close to Claude Code's plan mode UI from one prompt as well. That one's not finished, but I pretty much had a working UI where I could select checkboxes or select my answer or go to the next question, and pretty much it was just the same as Claude Code's UI for plan mode, and I was just with one or two prompts which I'm still working on. So yeah, Pi is just really easy to extend on. I have no complaints with this tool, so even typing is extremely fast, shows up instantly. When I tried Pi, I was like, wait, I didn't know text boxes could be laggy. So yeah, it's just really good. I would recommend trying this out for sure. So yeah, that's it. This is my AI coding tool tier list. And let me know if you disagree with any of these or if I should try any other tools. And let me know which one is your favorite.